you can be all in and you can be loyal to the job, but then there's a difference between actually caring about the company, caring about the people, caring about what we're all pushing forward. And I think that's something that as a family business is hard to find, because ultimately no employee will ever care as much as, let's say, the family who are in it from the beginning, because they'll take the biggest hit across everything that ever happens.
I honestly can't actually remember being in this building and not feeling like that, not even when I first started. I probably, for me, I just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I've always just felt very comfortable. I remember saying to you, just like, I've got an interview tomorrow. It was with another company. I was like, I don't want to go to that interview. This is the job I want.
So welcome back to the 29ers show. The last time you were here, we were in a different studio. So this is your first time in this studio.
I'm very excited to be here, and I love this new studio. It's so cosy and it just feels really nice and intimate.
Yeah, and we walk by it every single day, and we're always filming. We try and film like every single week, but just as we got into the flow, we're like, right, let's start bringing some of the team in, some of our customers in. So you're the first, let's say, guest to the podcast in a sense, because it's always just been Kev, Jill, me or Lynn on it. So yeah, you're the first one to go for it. So what we wanted to do in this episode was a bit of a different take. Obviously, all the episodes previously have been about the business and the learning that we've went through and the experience and the 17 years of highs and lows in the roller coaster. But what we really wanted to do here was to take a bit of a different spin on this episode. Obviously, I'm probably coming at it from part of the family business, obviously same last name, family, my mum and dad started, etc. But what we wanted to do was then try and talk more with you about like what that experience is like for you as an employee being here. You've been here, how many years?
7 years at the end of this month.
7 years. So you've been here a long time. So I just thought, we're always pushing out these episodes, which is from our perspective, but I thought it would be quite nice to just see like what your perspective was in your journey and your career. Because like ultimately a family business starts because of a family, but it doesn't grow without everyone else around that. And often in a family business, there's multiple levels of family, there's different generations and different members, etc. But it's the wider team and it's the bigger team that are part of that, but they need to feel part of that. But it's not for everybody working in a family business. So we thought we would like lift the hood up and see what your honest answers are. And it is unscripted, so the goal is that we don't cut it at any point. But there might be a few, if you want to cut anything, then we definitely can. But really what I wanted to start with is about your journey. And you've said this before on film and podcasts and things like that, but it was how your journey started here, because it was probably quite unique in a sense of you didn't just come for an interview and then that was it. There was like lots of different steps, and our journeys actually ran quite parallel in a really strange way. So yeah, do you want to give a...
So my first interaction with the family, if you like, was 17 years ago. I interviewed with Kev and Gillian, and I was actually blown away with them at the time. They're so passionate about what they do, enthusiastic, and you can just really see that passion coming out, and it was very exciting. And I remember after that interview, I would send my follow-up email and just to express like how nice it was to meet them and how I genuinely felt, like the way that they portrayed themselves. Unfortunately, I didn't get that job, which was very devastating. Then I saw the job come up again, probably like 2 months later, and I applied again. And needless to say, I didn't get the job at the time, but I didn't feel any which way about it. The only way I felt was like, wow, I wish I had got that opportunity. It would have been amazing to work with these people. So then fast forward 10 years, and I was going for an interview, and it was through a recruitment agency. So I'm sitting before I met him, looking up the company, and I'm like, oh, so I recognise this guy. And it was Kev. So then I went back into my emails, which I had from 10 years earlier, and found all the receipts. So I was really excited when, I sat down with the recruitment team at the time, and I was like, yeah, I need an interview with these guys. Like, it was just really exciting. And I was going through a difficult time. I'd just been made redundant. It never happened to me before. I'd never been out of work since like I was 15 going on 16. And I came for the interview, and it was yourself that interviewed me. So I didn't even get to see Kev or Gillian, I don't think, like at the first, because we had a few interviews. And I felt that exact same feeling that I had of the way that you portrayed yourself and what you spoke about for 29 Studios, of just how exciting it was and what a great opportunity was here. And I just still felt that passion. So I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And then we had our second interview, and I do remember, I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday. The Friday I had another interview planned, as you do when you're out of work. And I remember saying to you, just like, I've got an interview tomorrow. It was with another company. I was like, I don't want to go to that interview. This is the job I want. And then you sent me out the room, and that hadn't really happened to me before. And I'm like, oh no. So I sat in reception, and you brought me back in and offered me the job. And Kev will always say that I closed G's, but that honestly wasn't my intention. Now that I know a bit more about sales, I know how to close. So I'm like, oh, it was always there. But I really just thought, I can't leave here without just putting my heart on the table. Like, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's where my journey started.
And it is, we always say that, like, you're the only person to ever close us in an interview, because typically we do that. We always have a first interview, and then it's like you think about it, and then we wait and see, like, you know, right, how do we still feel? Does the person get in touch? Do we hear anything? And then we have that second interview, and then usually that's just to see, like, right, were we right in what we thought? And then we typically never would hire on that second interview. But then when we left your first interview, I was like, I think that's the person we need. But then when you were like, we're going for another job, I was like, we can't lose her. We need to just get her. We need to just go for it. So then, yeah, you closed us. And I think, like, over the years, and over the last couple of years specifically, we have been growing the team. But what's really important is about bringing in people that want to be here and that enjoy being here as well. Because, you know, there's so many people out there that, you know, have to just take a job because they need that job. But what we're trying to find right now is, like, the people maybe on that next part of their career or their next part of their journey where they're maybe looking for the last bit of, let's just really make a difference. Let's go for it. Let's go big. Let's go home and just absolutely not push themselves to the max, but push their career to the max. And that's what we're trying to find. And it's really difficult. And obviously you've seen that over the last 7 years. But that was the fun fact that I started 17 years ago. So when you're in your first interview...
Did you get my job?
I didn't get your job, no. But we actually then ran parallel quite strangely. And then we work obviously very closely together. But, you know, the next part of this was talking about, like, really from the moment that you then started to feel like you weren't new here. Now, obviously, you have been here 7 years, and that does take a bit of time. But actually, strangely, like, from both of our perspectives, that probably will have felt quite different. And it's trying to then see, like, well, what did that look like for both of us? Because we both came into a job new, fresh. You obviously came in from somewhere else, so you had then that experience. I came in straight from, like, studying from college. But for me personally, there was a moment where I was like, yeah, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. Was there anything like that for you?
Well, this feels like a bit of a challenging question for me, because I knew obviously kind of what we might cover today, and I was thinking about it. And I can't actually pinpoint when I didn't feel like the new person. There's been points over my time here where I've grown in confidence, you know, I've grown in other ways. And I can remember those of being like, you know, at the time when I was project managing, you know, maybe having to have some harsher conversations with the team or trying to organise things. And when you are new, you know, if you have to have a difficult conversation, that can be daunting in itself. So I remember the kind of a one occasion like that, where I thought, no, you're here to do a job. You know, it doesn't matter if you're 2 days in the door or 2 years in the door. You know, stick to what you need to do. So it's hard for me really though to pinpoint like when I stopped feeling like the new person, or, you know, because really, like, when I think about 29 Studios, it's always felt like the place I belong. It feels like home. It feels like my family. So it's hard. I honestly can't actually remember being in this building and not feeling like that, not even when I first started. For me, I just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be, and I've always just felt very comfortable. Yeah.
It's good to hear, because obviously, and you know that, like, whenever anybody starts here, we always say that to them, like, you're here for a reason, because you're the best, we want you, you've got the best, like, you're best fit for this job. So, like, we do say that to people, is like, whether you've been here 5 minutes, 17 years, 7 years, like, you deserve to be here, so never feel like that. But for me, I always felt it was a wee bit different, because I think there was then an expectation of me coming in, which is good and bad. Like, I think then you get the bad side of that, where people just think like, oh, she's here because of that, she's here because of that. And then probably from my parents' perspective, then you do get not saying harsher, but you do get treated differently, and the expectation is higher. So I found that quite hard coming in, because I then came in when there was like people here who'd been here a lot longer, or they'd worked with like Kev, Jill, Lynn a lot longer. So when I came in, I really did feel like, right, I'm just a runner, I'm just doing this, I'm just doing that. And when I first came in, I was literally just doing it at like weekends, and I was just helping out. And it was only after doing that for a year or so that I was like, actually, I want to be here full time. But that was such a hard transition. And then over the years, there has obviously been people that you find out have made comments, have said stuff, but I feel like I've got to a point now where I'd kind of just let that wash over me. But I do remember at the very beginning finding that very hard. But now when I look at where I am and where those people are, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore.
I think, you know, for me to hear that, like, I can completely understand how it can seem, and how it could seem to people who don't work here, or, you know, they might have preconceived expectations or notions of why you are where you are. But I always remember from very early on, even we were just listening to calls with customers and stuff, and you're a wee bit younger than me, and I remember saying, God, I want to be Katelin when I grow up, because I was just so impressed with how confident you were and how knowledgeable you are. And even still to this day, like, we'll be doing stuff and everything just rolls very, very naturally for you. Like, you know, there's never any awkward pauses. You know exactly what questions to ask. You know exactly how to respond to anything that's thrown at us. So I've always felt like you definitely deserve to be where you are and doing the job that you're doing, because you've got the skill.
I really appreciate that. And it's hard. I think we're probably, it's your own self sometimes, isn't it? Like, it's your own self-doubt. But I think when I came in, I felt it more because I was coming into like connections and people who were, let's say, more established, like in their role, etc. So then I was coming in with no experience. But then I think what then I came in with was not arrogance, that's not the right word, confidence maybe, of like, you know, if I don't like this, I can leave. In terms of, it was my mum and dad's business at that time. I was just fresh out of like studying, and I was like, I'm working in part-time jobs, doing this, doing that. I enjoyed it. It was only when I then became in to be like, right, this is actually my full-time job. I think there was then a confidence of like, I know this. Like, I grew up around it. My parents started business like when I was one, I think, when they started their first business. So that mentality of, you know, just wing it, go for it, believe in yourself, just have the confidence. It's always just been part of not just like business life, but just life. So I think it just came quite naturally to me. But I think it was only when I probably was here long enough that I was then here longer, that then I felt like, actually, no, I belong here more, strangely. Now, whenever someone new comes in, I don't even second guess, like, oh, they think I'm this thing. There's always a joke of like, so is that the daughter, and is this, are you the son, are you all this? But now I don't second guess it, but I do remember at the time feeling like that and thinking, I don't think this is for me. But I'm glad I overcame it.
Me too.
So one of the questions is talking about culture, and I don't like that word and term, and like I see this a lot. I watch a lot of like business podcasts and people in business, and they always talk about like, you need to make a culture, you need to do this. Personally, for me, and obviously might be opinionated, but I think the culture is just the people, like the culture has to make itself, otherwise it's just brought in, and it's like, you're forced to do this, you're forced to do that. It can't be that. If the culture's not there, it's because it's not the right people. People who want to spend time together, who enjoy spending time together, doesn't necessarily mean like outside of work. It's just the culture within the company needs to start within the company. It can't be something that I put in, or Lynn puts in, or Kev or Jill. It has to start with the people. So it was just to hear what your thoughts were on that, because I know, obviously I know you, and I know kind of what you would maybe say, but what, like, for you, what does that mean in terms of culture and the culture here and where that's evolving? Because I think right now in the industry, cultures are changing dynamically across industries. We're seeing that. We're seeing mass redundancies. We're seeing people who are at the house now getting brought back to work, people in work. So there's so many changes, which is then impossible to keep a culture going. But so it's just to hear what your thoughts were on that culture word.
The word culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely agree with you that, like, the culture is the people. It's not like, oh, every Friday we go here, or we go out for drinks, or we do this, or, you know, we do all these activities. I think it's definitely having an enjoyment for the people around you. But for me, what bleeds heavily into that is the passion that you've got for 29 Studios, because the things that we're working on right now are really, really exciting. And I think between us, you know, when we're all working together, we're talking about them, whether we're brainstorming, like, I find that enjoyable, and I find that part of the culture, not just come in, do your tasks and then go home. Like, come in, let's grow together, let's innovate together. And that's the kind of a team moments I enjoyed, you know, when we all get together and, you know, everybody has something to contribute, and you see people's personality, and you know what it's like, you know, we're all talking over each other because we're so excited. Yeah. Like, I think those moments are far more genuine than we've engineered a paintballing expedition, you know, like, so for me, that is the culture. But that really, really stems from enjoying what you do, enjoying the work you want to do, having a passion for innovation, because that's exactly what we do here. So you need to have all those qualities, really, I think, to breed the culture in here and to be part of it. And I would think, like, do you know what, if you're kind of sitting back feeling out of it, like, you know, you maybe aren't the right person. Yeah. It is hard working for a family business, I think. Like you mentioned earlier, it isn't for everybody. Some people want to just go to work and go home, and that's fine. But when it's a family business, you're all in. Yeah. And if you're not all in, then
you're all out.
You're all out.
That kind of goes on to the next question, and it was talking about, like, do you think there's a difference between being loyal to a company and then genuinely caring about it? Because I see that, and I see that in, like people that we've maybe had over the years, or people that I've interviewed. Like, you can tell right away the people who are loyal, or a bit of both, but genuinely, I feel like you can be both.
Yep.
But you can be siloed just to one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you can care about the company you work for, and you can be loyal to it. I would almost put those two things together, and, like, you're care about the company, you're loyal to it, because why would you be loyal to a company that you don't care about? I mean, maybe other people would view that as, I'm loyal because I get my wages every month, right? Yeah. So that's the difference. So yes, if you're thinking more in terms of loyalty because that's your, you know, is your career, it helps, you know, finance your lifestyle and all your bills and stuff like that. So I think you can be loyal in that way, because you don't want to have to look for another job, which is very difficult in this day and age. But I think I would class that more as, like, if you feel like you're loyal because of those things, then you're just plodding along, really. Yeah. I think if you genuinely care about the company, you know, you're all in. So I think loyalty just comes with that part of it. But then I would say, like, the loyalty of just being all in, I don't really know how else to say that, but I'm meaning more like, because when I had saw that initially, I was like, well, I don't think that's the right two words we should be talking about. Do you know, I felt like being genuinely invested and just coming to do a job. Yeah. Do you know?
I think it's just, maybe the word and the actual words are not right, but I think where it's coming from, where I was coming from, is like, you can be all in 9 to 5, and you can be here because, like you're saying at the beginning, you want the security of a full-time job. You want the, like, everything that comes with that. But caring is different. And I think that's the bit that, for me, when I see someone giving that care, then I'll care back. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, like I'm not meaning about anyone like in our team in particular. I just mean over the past, or like when you're hiring people, etc. People that are like, yeah, I'm all in. Yep, I love it. Yeah, I really want. I'm really passionate about this. Love the industry, etc., etc. I'm not saying it's then right. Well, what do you do at 5:30? What do you do at 6? But it's the care of like all the wee small things that wrap around that. It makes a difference. And I think it's not just, I would say, for team. It's also customers. See, when you're working with a customer that you feel like you actually care about, and they actually care about you, then you will go above and beyond to make sure something works for them, you fix their problem, etc. But you know, that's where we're fortunate in terms of this business, that we work with customers like that. If we work with customers that don't give us that back, or we're not feeling that with them, and we're not working with them. So I think that's where it's maybe coming from, in a sense of like, you can be all in and you can be loyal to the job, but then there's a difference between actually caring about the company, caring about the people, caring about what we're all pushing forward. And I think that's something that as a family business is hard to find, because ultimately no employee will ever care as much as, let's say, the family who are in it from the beginning, because they'll take the biggest hit across everything that ever happens. But that's always the bit I think that then is hard to build into, like finding that next level behind the family. It's like the next level of leadership, because you need to know that there's trust there, but you're only going to trust someone if you know that they genuinely care. And I think that's just really hard to find. But like you said, not everybody wants that, and that's fine. Some people just want to work and just have their job and go and have their, that's great. But that's always really hard. And the only way, and that's what obviously we're doing and we've done, is like, we need that next level in. And that's why obviously we're building the management team behind us, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's hard to find those people.
It is. And then I think, just circling back to what we spoke about, culture. When you have people who, I guess, don't care when it is a family business, and you realise what's at stake, that's, I think, what can affect the culture, because, you know, you've got your mix of people who care and who are just loyal to the job. So one of the things I touched on there was about trust, and I think that, like with any job, there's always a level of trust, because you're doing a job that needs to be done right. There can be consequences, obviously. I think we always need to remind ourselves that sometimes you feel like the consequences are like so like dramatic, but like I think it was something that's like, we're saving PDFs, not lives. But it always comes down to like, you have to be able to trust people, and I think that's what with like where I am in the business, like I trust like my mum and dad and Lynn 100%, like, because obviously like I treat Lynn as family. Like I've known her my whole life. I don't remember my life without Lynn. But that's where then, like with you, I trust you. So it's trying to then like find people like that. But ultimately in your life, you don't have a lot of people like that. Like this is rare to find that in business, that's someone that's not part of like your family. But that's really hard to find in a business. That there's always levels, isn't there, of like, hey, you trust them to go answer the door, but like, would you trust them to go face to face with your customer? Would you trust them to run a meeting? All those things. And I think that's so hard to find in business, because ultimately everyone has to be out for themselves in a sense, because it's their career, it's their livelihood. But it was just your take on that, of like, because obviously you work probably then closer with the team than I do. So it's then how you find that level, like that next level of trust for you. Because if like we trust you like 100%, but then you then need to be able to trust the people behind you to deliver for you to deliver. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you find that? And I know you find that quite hard. I'm going to answer that for you. You find that very hard. I do find it quite hard, because I'm very protective of 29 Studios, and I think though, to build that trust, you have to know that your team is showing up every day, is growing, you know, has like a level of ambition and innovation like we spoke about. And I think it's more just that demonstrating that I'll do whatever it takes so that we get the right outcome for our customer, and also a confidence in their own abilities, because obviously, like you said, when we hire people, we're hiring people because we believe that they are the best for that role. with their skill set. So I think I've gotten a bit better about it over the years. I do still find it challenging because obviously out with our own team, we also work with our network. We work with other vendors, other suppliers. So when we're leading the project, I would say I'm quite strict in terms of setting the standard on what I expect because of what we're delivering to the customer. Because ultimately then when we do work, even with our own team, with a kind of an external team, ultimately it comes down to us. So what experience do we want to give our customer? Do you know, how do we act? How do we speak? How do we treat people? Do you know? So we work with the similar teams over and over again, so you have seen them grow as well
and learn their
understand and understand kind of what's expected when you're representing 29 studios. But I definitely think for the team, I do like over the years, because it is difficult to let go of something that you've been the champion of. What if you give it to somebody else and they drop the baton, do you know? But I do think the trust has been built up because the team are showing up every day, they're showing growth, they're understanding, you know, learning from not mistakes as such, but how do we improve things? What did we do the last time that could be better this time? And showing their own initiative as well and not just been taken by the hand.
Yeah. But I think that's like, you need to like, also I know you struggle with that and I've seen that firsthand of you talking to our team and talking to the freelancers, but then like you need to see that as a credit to you in a sense of like, that's how we all felt. And then we then all gave that to you because we trusted you 100%. And then now you're trying to find the people that you can then trust 100%, and you've got that already. Like there's people that we work with currently that you could trust 100%. Not like I mean 100% as in maybe what they're
80.
doing. 80%. Always, if you're listening, you're always on. But like even to the point when we do go to like big events, go to, you know, Variant, we do all that, and you know, I don't even really second guess like what is everybody saying. Like we always remind everyone, like remember all our customers are here, remember if, you know, whenever you're in any space, etc., because I know that you've got that covered with them. So it's like, it's just trying to we always say that you have to duplicate yourself, and I think that's what we're always trying to do. And it's as it gets like more diluted in terms of like the next level behind you, I think that's when it becomes harder, because we are then working with like our team, we're then working with like freelancers, we're working with our network, we're working with like suppliers, etc. And ultimately in our head is like, you're representing us, so you need to act the way I would act, but no one will ever act the way that you act 100%. But I think we're getting there, and I think we're also not tolerating anything that we don't accept. And I think that's the thing that we always try and remind ourselves of, is like as soon as we see it slipping, we have to catch it. We have to say it, whether it's like someone in our team, whether it's each other and go, that's not how we would do it, or it's someone that we work with. It's about just nipping it in the bud there and then, because that's the only way that they learn. And we joke, like there has been instances where someone's done something that we weren't happy with, and you just pick up the phone and tell them that it wasn't. It's never happened again. So it's just trying to do that in a nice way and do that in a positive way.
But it is difficult when you talk about all those things, the thought like, you know, sending someone else to represent 29 studios. But you have to have like 110% trust in them. Yeah.
And it does, you do find those people, because the job you're doing right now, I did. So you're there because like I trust you 100%, and obviously there's been instances in life and jobs where I've had to step out, I've not been able to deal with stuff, and you've just went right in behind me. I've never had to second guess what you were going to say. So that's the hardest bit, is like now the next person behind you is how do we find that, and who is that, and do they give what you give, and they'll always get diluted, but it's just trying to find that person. One of the questions here was kind of a bit of both of us, but it's talking about, was there a moment where you realised that you weren't just representing you, that you were representing the company? Like was there a moment in like your career or a trip or something that you went, oh, I'm here as 29 Studios, like I'm not here as Stacey right now, like I'm here representing the company, the whole company is on me right now?
I mean, I think that every time I go anywhere, or I'm working on a project, or I'm out on a shoot. But certainly I think, I mean, we've worked really big global events and all our customers are global, But the big one was going to China with one of our key customers. I think, though, that wasn't a trip I expected to go on. The innovation at the time was driven by Kev and Lynn, and we presented to the client. They absolutely loved it. And then, like, a few days later, they were like, our whole global team needs to see this. Can you come to China next week? And at the time, both of them, I think, were going on holiday. And then they asked me. So I was really excited, for one. But also, like, they were the drivers of that particular technology content innovation. I was like, right, I really need to, like, up my game here. So spent the next few days, like, with them doing intensive sort of training. And I mean, it's all stuff I knew. So I wasn't like, I'm not ever worried about representing 29 Studios because I feel so passionate about it. And I think when you're passionate about a subject, you don't worry about speaking about it because you know it inside out. But this particular innovation in technology, whilst I was excited about it, to be able to present it the same way they did and demonstrate it to a kind of a global team of leaders was pretty amazing. And I think it wasn't really until afterwards that the gravitas of that whole trip weighed on me. You know, you mentioned earlier, we do all have doubts about ourselves, or we'll have a crisis of confidence, or just sometimes you feel a bit stuck in the mud. And I just had to sit myself down and be like, you're trusted with this business in your hands. You know, one of our biggest customers, you flew to China, presented to their global team, and now they've implemented that whole system into their company. Yeah. Obviously, that wasn't all on me, but I'm like, that was a main driver, and you were trusted to do that. Yeah. And when you think about, like, how far along that's brought us with that client, you know, I was then helped play a key part in doing that. So it wasn't probably till afterwards, and I do like to remind myself of having that trust in me. You know, if I do have any sort of wobbly moments, or I'm feeling like I'm not moving anywhere, or just feeling stuck, I'm like, right, remember who you are, remember how you're trusted, do you know, and pick yourself back up.
Yeah. And I think that isn't there? There's always that moment, and it's always interesting hearing it from both of our perspectives, because we both entered the company in a really different way. And like, for me, it was one of the Engage conferences we did for Verin, and it was the first one I'd ran, and I had a crew of 18, and I remember sitting at the end going, I pulled that off. Like, and it was the first time that, like, every problem that hit, everything came back to me. If this was a success or if it wasn't a success, it was coming back to me. And I think it was the first time that I was like, yeah, I'm representing the brand here. Like, I'm not here now as Katelin. I'm not here as the daughter. I'm not here as anything. I'm here because I know this job, and we done it. And now, obviously, then that events is now like a core part of our business, and probably I always joke that gave me grey hair, that event. I think it actually did. But that was like the moment I was like, actually, people know us as 29 Studios now. Like, that's who we are. We were walking down the corridor and people are like, 29ers are here, and it's the first moment you go, oh my god, like, I'm not here as me, I'm here as the company. So it's always interesting just hearing two different takes on it. Kind of wrapping up, or coming close to the end. So one of the questions here is maybe a wee bit of a big question, but like, what would you say makes 29 Studios different now? I'm asking you that because obviously we are in a period of growth. We're growing the team. We're working with a lot more not a lot more customers, but we're going across our customers wider. So we're meeting new people. People are learning about us every day. What makes us different from one, like, actually being here and working here, but then how does really that transfer to our customers? And I think kind of also I touched on it earlier about, like, we need to care about it because then you care about the customers. But what is that difference? Where do you feel that is?
The difference I feel with 29 Studios, and I've always felt this way, it's kind of a twofold. So one is the people. And I think what the leadership team have done since I've been here for day one is just champion you to raise the roof and go through it. Do you know, if you want to grow, if you want other opportunities in this company, they're here for you if you're willing to work, you know, if you're willing to do it. And I think that means then that the people who work here, do you know, I would say are happier because, like, they, you know, when you're doing a good job, you're recognised and you're growing at the same time. Do you know, I wouldn't say there's a lot of limits put here. I think that then transfers on to our customers. Do you know, like, we enjoy working here. That comes through. Do you know, when we're out and about or customers are contacting us, they refer to us as the 29ers. It's like the 29ers is this team of people, do you know, that they have trust in, that they're happy with, that they have relationships with. I think that makes us different. But the other side that I've seen since I started working here is just the services we deliver are constantly growing. Like, what we deliver now is not what we were delivering 7 years ago when I first started. We're constantly going to our customers with ideas, with new innovations, new technology, just new and exciting things. We need to be one step ahead of our customers. Like, we need to excite them and show them the way forward in this industry. So that's a big differentiator for me. We don't wait. We don't tend to sit back and just react. Like, we're always proactively trying to move forward so that we've got something fresh and fresh ideas for our customers when they come to us.
Yeah, and I think because we are so agile, we can move fast. We're not, you know, having to go to a board or big corporate or anything to make any decisions. Then we can adapt with our customers. They come with a problem, we'll find a solution. But I think that's why they like it as well, because most of our customers are corporate businesses who have rules and have limits, and they have to move slower because of the amount of people and the regulations and governance in place. But that's where then they like coming to us, because we throw loads of ideas at them, but we're throwing those ideas based on, like, we know that you're not allowed to do X, and we know that you have to get this approval, but we're just always thinking, and I think we energise them as well. But that then comes right back to, like you were saying, like, we need to find people who have that first, and then it's easy to then spread that back out to our customers as well. So last question for you. No crying on me.
No, I don't.
So looking back, what has been, like, your proudest moment so far?
This is hard. Do you know what my proudest moment's been?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Oh my God, long pause. How are we going to edit this?
We can't edit it, it's unscripted. It's just going to be like 5 minutes of silence.
I mean, I don't even know that there's everything we do here and everything we achieve, like all the opportunities that I've had have made me proud, and everyone tops the next one. So it's really hard for me to actually pinpoint one. I think
a favourite then?
A favourite. I think probably a favourite and a turning point was we went on a training business development trip to Miami, and that really felt for me more of a turning moment, not like a massive big shift, because I think I'd already been, grown within the company into leadership, but really feeling like within the fold, and really understanding that my ideas, my opinions and my contribution to the company mattered. I think maybe that was 2 or 3 years ago now, that trip. And it was amazing. We went to some conferences which were fantastic. That was a big moment for me. I think more just like, I guess, it made me feel proud of myself that I was taken along on that, because it wasn't a trip that, I needed to be invited on, but I was just very grateful, and it did make me feel a bit proud of myself of how far I'd travelled within the company at the time. Yeah,
and I think that's like, it goes back to whenever you started this by saying like more sales focused now, but when you're trying to win a deal, when you're trying to win a customer over, what makes the difference is spending time, and it's whether that's on Teams, whether that's face to face, whether that's going for dinner or putting in the extra mile. It makes a difference with the relationships with our customers, and I think that's transpires back to like team. And for me, like our favourite moments together, I think, is the travel and all the fun we've had. I think we've been nearly in every Target in East Coast of America. But that's where like trust builds, that's where like time builds, that's where culture builds for me, is not in here like like what we all going for lunch together, like that's not it. Like the bit that is the care and the bit that's the trust is when it's built in the time that you all take to, like you were saying, that course that we did in Miami that energized us. But then we've been on trips that have not energized us because it's been hard and it's been a long day. But then you still have fun, you build trust, you build time together. So I think that's the moments, I think, where that connection is built for like the foundation of moving forward. And I know not everyone in our team is maybe in a role right now that has that opportunity to go travel and do stuff, but like you were saying, you have to put yourself in it, you have to put yourself forward and push and ask and, you know, find those opportunities for yourself. And you have done that. But I think that for me is like where our where your jobs took the biggest leap is because we've all spent that time together and seen then how much you were in it and you loved it and you actually care for the business and then everyone in it. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap? I've been given the countdown warning.
Yeah, earlier you said about working 9 to 5.
Yeah, that
Who
doesn't
works
apply to
9
you.
to 5?
That doesn't apply to you. You care too much. That's the problem. Our customers are so global. I always joke if my husband phones and he's like, why are you not answering my call? He's like, your customers don't wake up till 1 o'clock because they're East Coast. But no, that's the side of it, isn't it? When you care, you just want to answer and you want to keep it moving.
I always say that to my customers because we do work globally and some of them will message me knowing it's late for me, but I mean, I'm still up, I'm still replying. They're like, don't reply, and I'm like, if my customers are awake, I'm awake.
And if I don't reply now, I won't hear from you in 24 hours. Great. Well, thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yep.
Nice experience?
Yes, it was a good experience.
Okay, good. Thank you.